Hey guys, Anders here with a video on the new class Drakania. With the launch of the class, I found some hidden changes, which means we're back with another breakdown video. If the devs are somehow listening, do me a favor, please stop doing these sneaky hidden changes and not including them in the patch notes. I don't like it. Anyway, my skill overview is thankfully still relevant despite these changes, so just once again, I need to explain a couple of things that have changed with the class. So last time I went over what was mostly nerfs to Drakania, to her crit damage, her mana consumption, damage overall, stamina consumption. Luckily, we only have really a couple of damage nerfs and the rest are mostly buffs. Some very good buffs as well, if you ask me. So not every skill had changes. I'm not going to be going over each one, and instead I'm going to focus on the good and the bad changes overall. Let's start with the bad. Damage nerfs, again, this time Brimbolt Strike got hit hard. Hardest hitting skill got 13% less damage. That's not great. Omni Slash and Embers got some reduced damage as well, but those are mostly buffing or filler skills. They didn't do a ton of damage to begin with, so just like our buff to Skewer damage and Dragon's Maw damage, it's not that amazing considering their multipliers aren't as high as, say, something like Brimbolt Strike or Blazing Strike, another one of our Ion skills that was also nerfed by 7%, which hurts a bit. Dominion, once again, a slight nerf of 3%. It's not done 30% of the last change, but still sad to see since that skill is so good for AoE damage. I can't really give you solid feedback on how it affects our grind right now because I wasn't able to test it in Korea, but these damage changes may actually get mitigated by one huge buff we received for Drakania, and that's Skewer. Skewer now has Ion Generation. This one skill has gone from awesome to trash tier to now awesome again in such a short amount of time, honestly. Either way, this is an amazing news for us because Skewer is a quick damaging skill. It gives us Ions now, lets us cancel into so many other skills. It costs no stamina, costs no mana, and is on a very short cooldown of 4 seconds. I love to see Skewer back, and I definitely recommend you guys try and utilize the skill in your combos. It's a must-use skill. Next up, we have some minor accuracy buffs to some skills that receive damage nerfs. It's always nice to see more accuracy on skills, so no complaints from me especially. I love seeing more accuracy. The big one also for me, happy to see it so soon, the mana buffs. We now consume a lot less mana than we did from the initial nerf. That's huge. They're not massive cuts, okay? But Drakania's MP bar isn't that big. It's very small actually, so even the smallest bit of mana that you're saving, that's huge in the long run. This will definitely make leveling and grinding with her as a day one player a lot more feasible, I think. Sadly, there were no changes to her stamina consumption or mobility skills, but I'm hopeful we will see some tweaks down the road. Before we move on to the, I think, wild, unexpected buffs to Drakania, let's talk about CC changes real quick. So our normal attack has a bound on jump attack and stun on sprint attack. That's it. That's crazy. I don't know why they added that, but that's reality right now. I'm not sure if it's useful, but it's interesting at least. Dragon's Maw got some more damage, but is now a float CC without that down smash on second hit, which is huge as it opens up a lot of combo potential for this skill to live in PvP. The down smash will no longer be annoying to factor into your combo. I like seeing that change. Markthanan's Flourish. So this skill now has a stiffness CC on charges instead of the stun on second hits. I think this makes it a little weaker overall since you're losing a protected stun that can be changed with an iframe, but the stiffness on the charge isn't terrible, to be honest, depending on how it's implemented. If the AoE of the charge is massive and it works where you're draining mana and doing a stiffness CC every time as you hold a charge, that could be very effective. We also now have a float CC that is both PvE and PvP on the first hit of the skill, which again is really nice if you need to use it for combo potential or as a more of a catch ability. That's not too bad. Now let's talk about the changes to effects, the big ones. Our ults now deal more damage in PvP. That's good to see. Our 100% now deals 17 more damage overall, even in PvE, which is nice to see. I thought they over-nerfed this skill in PvE. You're using this skill more often than not in PvE than in PvP. 90% of the people are grinding, 10% of the time you're PvPing. That's how it goes. I like that we got more PvE damage back on our 100%. Eviscerate and Brimbolt Strike now deal 10% guard gauge reduction on one target. This isn't a ton, and I think they mean to flush it out slowly. I don't think they want another Corsair Succession situation, but a completely unexpected change. Brimbolt Strike, despite having the damage loss, will still chunk your forward guard with this small effect. I'm actually curious to see how potent it is on live servers. Omni Slash now does minus 15 DP instead of minus 20, which kind of sucks. And Embers now only gives you AP plus 10 instead of plus 20 for 10 seconds, which is not a fun nerf to see, unfortunately. Before I forget, my favorite skill, Markthanan's Breath, now does a cool 10% more damage in PvP. Nice to see. I kind of wish they had lowered that mana consumption on that skill a bit as well, but maybe next time, who knows. Lastly, I want to talk about the nerf to Markthanan's Heart. This is the passive that allows Drakania to regenerate health constantly once she drops below 50% HP. Now, when using some of our Ion skills, she can go up to 60% of her max HP, or at least she could. When using Markthanan's Scale, her PA ability, she was able to regen health up to 80%, making her very hard to kill when she had that PA effect active. Now her Ion skills will only regenerate up to 50% of her health now, and Markthanan's Scale will only regen up to 60% of her max HP. That's a pretty significant drop, since you're now losing 20% health regen in sticky situations. This of course will mostly affect PvP group fights, I think, but I've had instances of even in the new Elvia zone on test server where, you know, 1 or 2 swipes can outright kill you from an elite, and having less HP regen means I can no longer tank those hits as effectively. It seems like the developers are tweaking the power of Markthanan's Scale sort of indirectly with this passive change. We'll see what happens. And that's pretty much it for the changes. I hope I was able to shed some light and give you some clarity on what actually changed. I want to remind you, I was unable to test the lingers. Maybe they have changed, and the cancels for this patch, since sadly I'm underleveled in my Korean account. If I find out that I missed anything or we get even more changes to the class, I will of course make another video showing you guys what exactly has changed. I hope this was useful. I'll have more Drakania videos out on the channel soon. I have to go and remake my PvE guide for the 3rd time now, thanks to these changes, but let me know what you guys think about the changes in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.